Now, but that's because you have weight concerns when you're launching a shuttle with supplies and people. And if you're launching something lighter, you can kind of stash those anywhere. Okay, for example, nuclear warheads, which we have stashed all over the dang state. Right,
No,
'cause it
that's a
doesn't
good
take that
point.
much to get them into orbit. But it reduces your cost in fuel and supplies,
Right.
right? The closer you get to the equator.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm not
true.
good enough at physics to tell you why, but I.
No, you can see why, because
Yeah.
there's not so much wobble. The poles wobble far more.
I don't know, so I don't know if we're up for a launch site.
No, that's kind of, that was a, I'll retract that, that was
Okay,
not a good
retract.
example.
You know, but maybe, I mean, we can get some wind farms in, we'd be up for some cheap manufacturing.
I don't want any wind farms,
They're wonderful taxable income.
I don't care. I think they're an albatross on the scenery and the beauty of the country.
I think
You know what?
Trump's gonna.
They start
remove
paying a lot of money
subsidies.
in taxes and you get right over that.
Well, I don't think so. Not me, I'm against them, and but I would be, like, maybe we can have some small nuclear plants here or something, you know?
Usually need water for that, we don't have a whole lot of water.
That's true, they need a lot of.
Well, Wyoming's getting them, they don't have a lot of water.
Well, and it also depends what kind of plant it is, I suppose,
Yeah.
but,
Well, they've got these mini plants.
Right.
And I'm not technically, but it's interesting to think about, what you could do to bring, that, one of the things that I still think is gonna happen is, the guy with the wind farm, so they got this wind farm going on, and they were gonna sell the power back to the grid and everything. He goes, guess what, guys, we got somebody telling us they wanna buy our power. And it's a data center, they wanna build a data center.
those are also wonderful taxable income.
Yeah, yes, there we go. They wanna build a data center in the Snowies where it's not so hot,
Mhm.
and they can save, now, to me, that all makes perfect sense. You've got a wind farm that's, I guess it's backup power or whatever. But this data center they're proposing is close to $1 billion in construction.
I know, wouldn't you just love
And
that?
up to maybe 40 full-time employees.
Mhm.
There's you're talking to say, okay, now but I was concerned, well, what's that do to the Snowies? And he said, well, it's only like a small acre track and it would be, so you could win all the way around. I think it's gonna happen, I haven't heard anything about it. But we would be a great, Muscle Shell County would be the ones that would benefit from that. And what brought that in was him, and I don't know if he mentioned this to plant a seed in my mind for me to make a logical information, was he wants the tax abatement with his wind farm.
Of course they do.
He said, and by the way, here's your tax abatement form, you guys think it over, and by the way, they're thinking of putting a data, it's like, thank you, we'll give you your tax abatement, because now we got this data center. That is a story yet to unfold.
They always ask
Or
for
think
tax
long
abatement.
term, we'll give you the tax payment for a couple, 2-3 years.
Yeah, it'll be 5-year.
But my lesson, the thing that opened my eyes to the elements of a tax abatement is what the mine got, 2 decades of co-gross proceeds being taxed at 0.5%, half the rate. You understand, why do you give a tax abatement? Well, in theory, you're gonna help a business grow, so in the long run, you're gonna reap more in revenue than you gave them in taxes rates.
But
But it's not what's happening at the mine. So, but I think this wind farm,
the wind farm will be a 5-year tax abatement, starting out at possibly 50%. We still got a choice.
but the choice is
But
either
after
50,
3 years,
80, or
it's hard
100.
to- it goes up until the 5th year, it's 100%.
We'll have to look, he hasn't been in on that, has he? We haven't done anything with
He'll be back.
that. He's a good
He
guy, he's
drops
a pretty
in
sharp
every-
guy.
He drops in every 2 or 3 months. It's all going to happen. When, I'm not sure.
Well, and see, data centers, you talk about high-paying jobs and whatnot. I mean, you know, that would change, and then that would help support what we're trying to do with downtown to bring, you know.
200,000 square foot data center. They put a 500,000 square foot one in over there north of Miles City and Forsyth. They put up 500 windmills over there though. And that's what they put in, a 500,000 square foot data center. Must be, that's what Chester County got a $6 million payment right off the top.
See, I don't think the windmill or solar industry would last if it weren't heavily subsidized.
No,
And that's where I
so
don't.
far it isn't self-sustaining.
And, but there are alternate forms. I'd be interested to see what they are doing in Wyoming. Because whether they need water or what they're, but I'm hearing they're small plants. And by the way, guess who's funding them?
Who?
Bill Gates.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's doing a lot of that. He's only the 10th richest man in the nation.
Well, then immediately you become suspicious. It's like, why are you doing this? But then didn't Sheridan, around Sheridan area almost burn up this summer? They had an unprecedented amount of fire in Wyoming. And remember the big,
Oh, well, the Bighorn Mountains
the
did
big
burn.
ones.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, because there's so many rich people who live in that, there along that Bighorn Mountain front. The total acreage there that burnt was less than what burnt in Muscle Shoals County
Oh, really?
just a couple of years ago. So and it was all on the Forest Service.
See, I heard it was unprecedented, hundreds
Oh,
of
shit,
thousands. of
well,
acres.
but Wyoming doesn't have any trees.
Well, and this was the rumor mill was,
I know.
remember what happened in Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
And then they came and they got the land. But apparently what they think's happening in Wyoming is the land that burned has special metals on it. And then it's an attempt to grab the mineral rights to keep your eyes and ears open for that. Because there's a lot of land that burned in Wyoming, because I'm in Wyoming, like that burned down, you know.
You know, but realize the amount, also the area that burned and how big it is in the eye of the beholder. Cause I remember
Yeah.
growing up in Ohio, and it was first leading story on every news station. It was the front page of every paper. There was a forest fire, and it burned an acre and a half, almost 2 acres.
Almost, huh? But they
And
got
it was a big,
But
big
2 acres in
deal.
Ohio,
I mean, folks were coming unglued. And, you know, and so that's why when they're back there and they're
How
looking
many
at the
acres
big
in Wyoming
fire
are
out
there?
here.
It was all perspective.
I mean, you know, they're looking at that going, oh my God.
All right, here it is. Nearly 600,000 acres had burned during Wyoming's Powder Keg.
But that includes the whole state.
No,
That-
this
It
is,
wasn't in the Bighorn Mountains, or it wasn't in that fire.
It was prairie.
It was like 145,000.
This is the Powder Keg fire.
Yeah.
Where was it at? I'll tell you where. Yeah. The plains burned after the house straw fire moved through an area of Buffalo, Sussex. So, the reason it caught my attention because it was near Sheridan, Buffalo, and that's considered prime. We'll check on that. You're not hearing anything about it, but 600,000 acres, even if it's the whole state's a lot, you know.
Yeah, that's sizable.
But you know, the average in Montana is 1 million almost
A year?
a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then never mind.
We always beat Wyoming. In everything, even fire.
Well, what we used to say, remember I said, we used to say, Montana's a lot like Wyoming, only Wyoming has a spine. I don't want to take a fight with you, Montana.
Yeah, well,
I don't. Well, I know what you're saying about the 500,000 or the 600,000.
I don't think it was, I think it was statewide.
It was, yeah, because I kept track of that fire, because it's right next to my good friend Leo Schmaus, the
Well, this one
banker
says
from
810,000.
Stockton Bank, and his ranch is right there between Dayton and Ranchester, and it came right down to Ranchester. I fired it in.
This was the powder keg fire. So over 810 acres burned in Wyoming, 600,000 of it was the powder keg.
810.
Yeah.
Huh.
But what I heard the conspiracy theories is that was deliberately set so that they could get the mineral rights to the land because they want, and it has to do with these batteries and special, you know, the new,
How do they get the mineral rights? Even if it burned up.
you know, and
The
then.
mineral rights don't burn up.
No, but,
They figure that they're gonna sell the land or.
yeah,
But if it's
it may
Forest
be-
Service, it's never gonna be sold.
Yeah, they ain't gonna say this.
well, who knows, they might.
Of course. Well, I don't know.
If
Let's say
you were a
maybe-
Forest Service official, that somehow you could personally profit from that.
Well, there you go.
I have no idea, the conspiracy theories sound right, but were the conspiracy theories with Hawaii, was that, did that ever pan out?
Maui?
You know, guys, so I'll just tell you that the fun conspiracy theories are fun. I love a good conspiracy theory. But I gotta tell you, after working in government, and so I've been working in government for 20 years now. I mean, really, you guys think you could plan some kind of great conspiracy here at Muscle Show County without folks wising up to it? I mean, all the meetings are too
Hell, we
open.
do every week.
There's too many people involved. Oh my gosh. You know, you'd have to count on.
You're basically
everyone
saying
keeping their
that
mouth shut.
nobody's smart enough to do that. But,
No,
but I used to say the same thing about what's going on at the border and everything. There's an orchestrated, it's not by accident.
if more than one person knows, you can't keep it a secret. Okay? And down at the border, what you've got is the cartels are running a business down there, transporting folks across the border.
But what about all these NGOs trying to expedite them and getting them plane rides and getting them hotel rooms and getting them apartments and federal subsidized? It is a concentrated, it is a
But it's all too open.
well-managed exercise, resourced, well-managed.
But it
phone
can, the
apps
nature of the
and-
conspiracy is it's a secret. Whereas what you've got
Well, the
down
conspiracy
there
is
you've
that-
got
here's the
folks
conspiracy
going for
element.
votes.
The conspiracy element of it is that the reason you're doing it is to get more votes. So you can have more people to vote for the Democratic Party. But I think it may be driven, like you, by the cartels. It's a multi-billion.
On this side of the border, it's driven by votes. On the other side of the border, it's driven by the cartels making a quick buck off whatever they can. I was just reading an article that now one of the cartel's favorite ways to make money is they're sending boats to illegally fish red snapper in American waters, and so they send them over, catch as many of these red snappers as they can, which are a highly valuable fish,
Mm-hmm.
and then scoot back into Mexican waters with their catch. And they'd stopped a boat that had $100,000 worth of Mexican snapper on it, or worth of American red snapper on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so when you look at these cartels, all that property along the border, that's almost all owned by cartels. But they don't use it for shipping people and drugs across all the time, so what else do they do? Oh, they also lease out the hunting rights if you wanna go down there and shoot a desert bighorn, you know, for $15,000, or go down there and shoot a giant desert mule deer.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you know.
And you know about that because that's what you're gonna do, go shoot a giant.
Well, when I had my sheep tag, I was reading a lot about sheep hunting around North America, and I was trying to learn everything that I possibly could about it. And so that was the thing, and so they had this sheep that they were trying to crossbreed up in Great Falls. Okay, one of the warrants for the guys they have out is a Mexican veterinarian. Why do you think they're interested in a Mexican veterinarian being able to crossbreed sheep? Because they got those desert bighorns down there, and if the horns get bigger, then they can charge more for them. by the way, in the last 10 years, the size of the Mexican bighorn or those desert bighorn sheep, they never used to kill 195, 200-inch bighorn or desert bighorns. Now they're getting them all the time. Gosh, I wonder what that is.
Interesting.
Okay. I mean,
No product should be public owned if you want it to,
yeah.
so that's the whole